The Zarkari Empire had never lost a war. For centuries, their warriors stood undefeated, their species genetically honed for battle. To them, war was sport, and they relished crushing lesser beings under the weight of their superior biology. So when humanity resisted their expansion, the Zarkari didn't see an enemy, just another species to humble. Their high command offered what they considered a mercy, a single combat trial. One warrior from each side. No weapons, no armor, no technology. Just flesh, skill, and honor. A fair fight. The outcome would determine humanity's fate. The terms were laughable. The Zarkari had evolved in gravity nearly twice Earth's, their bodies reinforced with dense muscle and armored plating. Against them, humans were soft, fragile, slow. The idea of a human surviving, let alone winning, was absurd. When the challenge was delivered, humanity didn't hesitate. They accepted, and they sent Sergeant Jacob Holloway. Holloway was no diplomat. No politician. Just a man who had seen too many wars and lost too much. A Marine through and through, trained in combat since the day he could throw a punch. The kind of man war had built, broken, and rebuilt stronger. He didn't ask for an introduction when he arrived at the Zarkari Coliseum. Didn't offer bravado or speeches. He just walked in. The Coliseum roared with thousands of Zarkari, their cheers deafening. Towering spires of black stone surrounded the arena, casting jagged shadows over the sand-covered floor. Holographic projectors displayed the event across the galaxy, ensuring every species bore witness to humanity's inevitable defeat. The Zarkari champion was introduced with grandeur. A 7-foot giant, his exoskeletal plating gleamed under the artificial suns. His name, unpronounceable to human tongues, was spoken with reverence. He had never lost. Then came Holloway. No ceremony, no fanfare. Just a man in a plain combat suit, rolling his shoulders, cracking his knuckles. Bored. The Zarkari announcer raised his arms. Let the strongest prevail. The champion grinned, flexing his claws. The crowd cheered. Holloway just smiled. The fight began. The Zarkari champion lunged, a blur of muscle and chitin, moving faster than anything that size should. He swung with the force to pulverize bone. Holloway wasn't there when the strike landed. He sidestepped, fluid, precise. The Zarkari's fist smashed into the sand, sending a shockwave through the arena. The crowd erupted in laughter. The human was dodging, running, they thought. Delaying the inevitable. Holloway tested his opponent, weaving, studying. The Zarkari had reach, power, durability. But he moved like someone who had never been punched in the face, never had to adjust for an opponent who fought like survival depended on it. The Zarkari charged again, claws slashing. Holloway ducked under the swing and struck, one clean, sharp punch to the side, right beneath the plating. The alien stumbled. The laughter stopped. It wasn't the force of the hit. It was precision. The Zarkari recovered, sneering, but there was hesitation now. Confusion. Holloway pressed forward. He wasn't playing by their rules. He wasn't meeting strength with strength. He was breaking the body down. A strike to the knee, a jab to the throat. Measured, surgical, relentless. The Zarkari warrior staggered. Holloway watched him with the cold patience of a man who had fought things worse than this. The alien roared, lunging in fury. Holloway slipped to the side and drove an elbow into the ribs. A wet crack. The warrior gasped. The crowd fell silent. The announcer hesitated. This wasn't how fights went. The Zarkari didn't lose. Holloway flexed his fingers, rolling his neck. His opponent was breathing heavily now, slower. He could feel it. The realization. This wasn't a fight. It was a reckoning. Holloway smirked. Round 2? The Zarkari hesitated. Just for a second. But Holloway saw it. Fear. It wasn't supposed to be like this. The human should have been broken by now, struggling for breath, begging for mercy. But Holloway stood unshaken, unbothered, untouched. The Zarkari charged anyway. Holloway met him mid-stride. No dodging this time. He closed the distance fast, stepping into the alien's guard, where reach and power meant nothing. A brutal uppercut to the gut lifted the warrior off his feet. A knee to the side of the skull sent him crashing back to the sand. The crowd didn't cheer. The warrior staggered upright, blinking, struggling to focus. Holloway watched him, eyes cold. He knew that look. He'd seen it before. That exact moment when a man realizes he's already lost. When the fight isn't about winning anymore, just surviving. The Zarkari roared and swung wildly. Holloway caught the arm, twisted, and snapped the joint backward with a sickening crack. The warrior screamed. No mercy. He swept the legs, and the alien hit the sand hard. A stomp to the ribs made him choke. The once proud champion clutched his side, gasping for air. No one spoke. Holloway knelt beside him. His voice was quiet. You done? The Zarkari nodded. A whimper. Holloway stood and looked up at the silent, stunned faces of the alien crowd. You wanted a fair fight, he said, voice calm. This was fair. He turned his back and walked away. Because humans didn't fight for sport. We fought to win. No one moved. No one spoke. The Zarkari High Command, once seated with smug certainty, now watched in rigid silence. Their champion lay in the dirt, broken, gasping, defeated. This was not how it was supposed to go. A human should have never won. Should have never dominated. Holloway stood at the arena's edge, rolling his shoulders like it was just another day, just another fight. No gloating. No celebration. Just finished business. The Zarkari warlords shifted uneasily. They had wanted a spectacle, a reminder to the galaxy that they were the strongest. Instead, they had broadcast their own humiliation. The announcer's voice cracked as he finally spoke. The human is victorious. The words hung heavy. A murmur rippled through the crowd. The realization settling in. Humanity didn't win by luck. Didn't win by brute strength. They won because humans didn't fight for sport. They fought to end fights. A Zarkari general stood abruptly. We must reconsider our negotiations. Holloway turned his head slightly. Now you're thinking. Across the galaxy, other species watched the broadcast in stunned silence. And they understood. Humans didn't seek war. Didn't revel in conquest. But if pushed into a fight, they would not hold back. And they would never, ever fight fair. Because mercy was for those who deserved it. And the Zarkari had earned none.